of you all or me. They just don't know. They don't get it because they're not ideologically in tune with what our values are. And that's how it's been, and that's how it's always going to be. But you're the big difference. You're the massive, major, significant, most important force is you. It's, it's this Senator Sanders, but it's this populist movement that you built, that we built, that people work so hard and own. And that passion is what just is the game changer. And I just have to say, we can be passionate and we can feel so strongly, but unless we organize, we lose. Organizing is it. So I come from a union background. She said a social activist background. I've been doing this my life. I love the labor movement. What I realized is that you cannot win unless you're organized. And you can't spend your time on negativity because fear is contagious as well as happiness, like I said. And if you feel like you have to answer every troll or every objection or everything, you're wasting your time from talking to people who actually want to make a difference in the world. So today, we're going to be learning a lot of skills. We're going to become an unstoppable force, but we have to refine our skills. We have to. It's just what we do when we organize, and it's work. But the people and the rewards and the love and the aftermath of this is just enormous. The community organizing that you have done, the activists in the community, and you do this work. She talked about, Cece talked about 2018, and I remember we were the first ones on the line with Bernie. I remember going into states that didn't know about the senator from Vermont would be normal, like Nevada, for example. And we introduced Bernie. Well, not anymore. Bernie's continued. We've kept Bernie on the map. You've kept Bernie on the map. I mean, we've changed this nation. And I just want to congratulate the people in the room because that was Bernie, but that was all of you. And honestly, you have to own that and you have to feel good about it. I just want to tell you, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, and I can also speak, I think I can honestly speak because I've been so involved with Bernie and Jane for so long, and Nina, and we've all been there. The thing that moves him the most is you. It always is. It's the passion. It's not these stories like politicians kind of, every election. I met a woman who was so sad. It's not that. It's not that. It's like he's authentic, he's honest, and he loves you, and he's giving his life, if he does this, to change this country and to change the world. He's the most connected person internationally. He's been building international allies, alliances, a critical factor of this election. We don't live in isolation. We live in a world that's getting very dangerous. He's been the best on climate change, on Medicare for all. I mean, he owns Medicare for all. Now you're going to hear a lot in the campaigns coming up from people who are going to parrot, but when we've got the real deal, we work, we care, and we do everything. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Keep going. I'll be there with you. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you on the campaign, I hope.
Thank you, Roseanne, so much for sharing that. Wow. Okay, so we are on a very similar topic from a different perspective about the importance of stepping up. And it's my pleasure to introduce community activist, nurse, former congressional candidate from Missouri, Cori Bush, to talk more about that. Cori, are you there? Oh, do we have Cori? Oh no, I think we lost Cori. We're going to find Cori. So hang on just a second. Let me make sure we find her. And if not, we'll move on. Okay, we lost Cori. I want to point out she's joining us from a snowstorm. So I hope that she's safe and okay. And if she's able to join back in, we'll bring her back on. But yeah, I hope that she's okay. All right, well, let's go ahead then and move on to our next section here. And, one of the themes that you're hearing is, this kind of powerful story that we all have. And it's a really important topic, and it's a big part of this movement. What matters most to you and why? So I'd like to turn it over to our next guest to talk more about this and the power of it. She's an activist. She's a school teacher. She's co-founder for People for Bernie, Kat Bresler. Kat, are you there?
I am. Hi, everybody. My name is Kat Bresler. I'm a public school teacher, and I teach in the Bronx. but I founded with many other activists who graduated from the Occupy Wall Street movement to start the People for Bernie Sanders. And I went throughout 2016 and couldn't wait to tell each and every one of my students that no matter what, they could go to college. 2016 was a disappointment for me. I couldn't walk into my classroom and tell my students that. We were able to push through in New York something similar, but nationwide, it still doesn't exist. I don't think that people have access to all the things that we believe in, like Medicare for all, tuition-free college, and ending mass incarceration in New York and throughout the country is so very important to me. I think when we talk about organizing in our communities, we talk about what's most important to us. And that's how we're most impactful to others. When we share our stories, that's how we convince other people that it's important that they join us. When you knock on somebody's door, when you have a direct conversation with them, you explain to them why it's so important to you. And then they get to connect with you and your message and your story. You are just as much a part of the campaign as Bernie Sanders is. You're his ambassador. You're all of our ambassador. When you meet somebody new and invite them in and welcome them to our space, it's so important that you make yourself available and accessible to them. And with that, I want to talk to you all about what we're going to tell you to do later on in the day with your house parties and with those that you're organizing with. We're going to ask you to turn and talk to your neighbor and explain why is it that you feel the burn. And somehow you're going to come to a 1 or 2 sentence just like I did. I feel the burn because I want to walk into my classroom and tell each and every one of my students, no matter what their economic situation is, they can go to college. For you, it might be something else, but that's going to convince somebody else to join the movement with you and to connect with you. You don't have to know all 14 points that Bernie Sanders is running on. You just have to know why you feel the burn. Later on, after you've had those conversations, I want you to take a minute private with yourself and your camera. And this is so important. We need to convince Bernie Sanders to run. He isn't in this race yet. It's a big, gigantic field. He needs to hear from each and every one of us. Your story matters. Why you feel the burn is so important. So we need you to use the hashtag #RunBernieRun and hold your camera sideways if you're going to do a Facebook or a Twitter. But if you're going to do the Instagram, go ahead and hold it that way, that vertical. Use the hashtag #RunBernieRun. You can also tag @people4Bernie on Twitter so that we can help amplify your message and make sure that Bernie Sanders sees and hears from you and knows that we are with him and we want him to run because we need Medicare for all. We need tuition-free college. We need to abolish ICE, end mass incarceration, legalization, and all of the other reasons why we come to this movement. So don't forget to do this. This is super important. He needs to hear from each and every one of us why we need him to run. So when we're done with these organizing parties, take a minute by yourself, post to the internet, and tell the world why you feel the burn and you want Bernie to run, Bernie, run. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Cece. And again, thank you all for organizing with us and listening to us and coming along on this journey with us, Roseanne and Nina. And I'm sure Corey will find her way back onto this live stream and tell us why it's so important to run for office. Thanks, Cece.
Thanks, Kat. Wow, and that was great to hear. I appreciate you sharing that. I hope everyone takes note and follows through. That is awesome. So, you know, there's kind of a theme you're hearing here about finding our voice, and really in those moments in life that kind of push us, we finally stand up and say, enough is enough. And that's a really powerful story that really, I think a lot of the reasons why people are here on this live stream and why they support Bernie Sanders for president in 2020. We were able to find Corey, so good news.
No, I'm not.
He's okay. And so, what I'd like to do now, I'm going to reintroduce Cori Bush. She is an activist. She is a nurse. She's a former congressional candidate, and just amazing. So, Cori, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi,
Yay!
everyone. Thank you for the intro. Sorry, technology. I'm driving in Snowmageddon. I got like 8 inches of snow out here, and it's still coming down. Now it's rain, and then it was sleet. This is crazy. So my phone just went nuts for a second, but I'm back. Okay. So, uh, thanks for the invite. I'm glad to be here. First off, I just want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you, every single Bernie Pratt, every single burner, every single person that's been supporting Senator Sanders and the movement, the whole revolution that turned and supported me in my campaign. I just want to say just thank you so much. You all stood with me when others wouldn't. And I just thank you because my life, this is amazing now, what has happened in my life and the lives of so many others because of your support. So I just have to start with that. So the question, why did I feel the burn in 2016? So feeling the burn in 2016 was something unexpected. And I'll say, I first saw Senator Sanders at a Southern Christian Leadership Conference convention in Alabama, I believe, in 2015. I saw him and they said, "Oh, this is the presidential candidate. He wants to speak." Okay, he spoke at this banquet. And when he opened his mouth, I was like, what? um, because I'm like, this man is bold in what he's saying. He's talking the things he's talking about. Who's talking about this? Like, I was just outdone. And when the man said Black Lives Matter, I like almost fell out of my chair. It was like I'm supposed to be looking all, grand and everything, and I was about to be on the floor. So it was just so I paid attention from there. And so during my run for U.S. Senate, yeah, U.S. Senate, y'all. Um, I decided to go ahead and endorse Bernie because I felt like his values were the same things that I was fighting for, but it was just somebody that was on that level speaking about it. And I took a lot of shots. Let me help you all to understand. I took a lot of crap for being a Black woman standing with Bernie Sanders. I still do today. I take a lot of crap. But you know what? I feel that those values, those issues that he's running on his platform is the platform that my community needs. We need tuition free college. We need healthcare. Healthcare is a freaking right. It's not a privilege, and so you breathe, you need healthcare, that basic stuff. Livable wage. Why do we have to ask for that? Why do we have to beg to be able to feed our family and take care of people and just have anyway. So that's why I felt the burn because it wasn't about big lines and all of that. And it wasn't even all of that. I don't think so much at that time. But it was just about this man is speaking to the issues of my community and what my people need. And since he's speaking about it, I'm rocking with him. And so I did. I didn't care about being popular. I didn't care about if people loved it or not. This is what you need. And so right now, things have started to change and people are realizing, hey, you know what? That does make sense. Makes sense. The message is starting to resonate with people. And so that's what it's about. Being able to stand up, speak out, and use your voice to have change in your community. Why is organizing important? Organizing is important because of this. This is why organizing is important because so many people know this message and so many people believe that it's real and they have hope now and people are pushing for it. It's one thing to have hope. It's another thing to have hope and use faith to push forward to go get those things. And that's what's happening right now. So that's why organizing is important. We need strong people that are ready to fight in the midst of adversity. Look, let me tell you, the death threat that I've received and the death attempts, all the foolishness that has come my way, I'm still standing strong on my values. Why? Because somebody has to come up after our generation. Somebody's coming up next. And so we have to stand and push forward regardless of the bull crap that's coming. So stand up and you all stick with it. Let's fight. Let's get this revolution done. Organizing is important also because there are people that will never be a part of politics. They won't be in the inner circles. They won't listen to CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. They won't do any of that. They won't go to the ward meeting and the township meeting and all of that. They're just not doing it. But you are the voice. You're the one that carries the message. So you take that message and go into those places where people that just don't care about that type of a thing. It's not for everybody. They may not get it. You take it to them. And then I was asked to give the story of myself. I'm trying to hurry, so I'm speaking fast. I can do that. So the story of myself, I'm a registered nurse. I am an ordained pastor. I love the Lord. I am somebody that just loves my community. And I believe that that's what this thing should be about. It's about loving one another, speaking up for one another. It's about loving humanity as a whole. And so uh, I decided, I ended up on the streets of Ferguson during the Ferguson uprising. I was out there from day one, hitting the ground because I just wanted to see change and I wanted to see justice. I didn't get it, so I kept going back. I began organizing, protests and all of those things. And then it ended up turning into someone asking me to run for office. I didn't get what I went for. I wanted them to see that criminal justice has to be a part of the talk. Police accountability, police reform has to be a part of the talk. We have to get those things for our community. Equality, yes, but equity as well. So I felt like I needed to bring that to the conversation, and I'm wrapping up. So anyway, I didn't win that time, but I was able to make change in my community and in my state. And so I ran again. And even though I was unsuccessful in this run, in that last run, things still happened and people were able to hear the message. So that's what it's about. Love you all. Hopefully I was able to get to somebody. Let's do this thing.
Oh, thank you, Corey, so much. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you were able to dial back in.
Yes.
Oh, wow. So my goosebumps have goosebumps. We're only halfway through here, and I can barely contain it. I hope that everyone's hearing this kind of other common theme about coming together. And when Corey just talked about it, it made me think of it again. And Senator Turner started off with it. And it's been a theme in every one of these speakers' conversations with us here is bringing people together. Having a presidential candidate who runs on the platform of unity and not division is just profound for me. Okay, well, we have a really exciting section coming up. This is the discussion part of the live stream. And what we're going to do is a reflection on 2016 with the goal of looking forwards to 2020. I'll be frank. The 2020 election season, it looks like it's going to be brutal. It's crowded already with many candidates and more coming. And overall kind of desperate air to not repeat the past 4 years. And so we have more to do. We have to do more. We have to be better, and we have to try new and different things. In 2015, we had the advantage of a surprise that came along with a fringe candidate and against few opponents. And we made some amazing progress overall and showed that a progressive candidate can run a competitive campaign on a platform about real everyday issues. So what we did was fantastic, but now the stakes are higher. And to truly win, we have to engage everyone, specifically every voter, even those that were on the sidelines in 2016 and didn't engage. So with me now are 4 guests to continue this conversation and answering specific questions that will help us. Kat Bresler, who you saw a moment ago, talking about Story of Self. Sheila Healy, and she's joining us from Vermont. Sheila is the field director on Bernie 2018, former Obama alumni and former executive director of the Arizona Democratic Party. We also have Roy Tatum, former deputy director of African American Outreach on Bernie 2016 and president of the East Valley NAACP. We also have Belen Sisa. Belen's a board member of the Progressive Democrats of America, a staffer from Bernie 2016, and an undocumented activist. So let's go ahead and begin. And Roy, I'm going to start with you. Are you there, Roy?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound great.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so Roy, you were the deputy African American director of Bernie 2016. So going into 2020, what was something that you think we did well and we should carry into 2020? And any improvements we can make, and particularly when we consider how we can create the most diverse and inclusive and empowering campaign possible?
Well, some of the things that we did well was Bernie was willing to go into the community. We went in communities all over the country, from Baltimore, Detroit, to Atlanta, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. We went right to HBCU. We actually had an entire outreach department focusing on HBCUs and our Black college students, which I don't think in the history of presidential campaigns that had ever happened before. We were in barbershops, beauty salons, having real conversations within our community. However, many people were familiar with Clintons. They weren't familiar with Bernie Sanders. They weren't familiar with the senator from Vermont who pretty much fought for social justice his entire life. And so we had to spend our time educating a lot of the voters about who Bernie Sanders was or who Bernie Sanders is and what his platform is. And you heard Corey articulate very clearly some of the very important issues that face our community, such as criminal justice, such as healthcare, such as education. I want to say specifically for me, it was exciting to be a part of this campaign because I could literally talk to people about the issues that I knew that they were concerned about, like policing, over policing, police brutality, murder, death by police. We are seeing a disproportionate number of Black people killed by the police. And here in this campaign, we were able to articulate that, talk about that, when other candidates sometimes wanted to avoid the conversation or wanted to dress the conversation up. And no, we needed to address the reality of police violence. And so for myself and many of us that joined the campaign were very excited to be a part of this movement. And many people, some people say, well, did the political revolution miss the Black community? And I don't know. Sometimes I believe the Black community missed the political revolution because we were not familiar in whole about who Bernie Sanders was. However, now, 2 years after the fact, we're in the situation where we're in now. Everybody knows who Bernie Sanders is. Everyone knows the platform of Senator Sanders. Everyone knows about his program for free college, college tuition taken care of, health care for all, and actually dealing with police violence. For those that are not familiar, I want to encourage people to take a look at our racial justice platform that we had in 2016, and I'm hoping that we have a campaign so we can really talk about the racial justice platform and get that out into the community and bring people together. As you said, we can bring people together with this message. And this is your campaign. This campaign is yours. Let's not wait for Senator Sanders to tell us what to do. We know, a lot of us know what to do. We know where the communities are that need to hear this message. So I want to encourage everyone that's out at the house parties. If you see communities that are not represented, make sure you go visit. Go take a trip to the barbershop. Take a trip to the church. Take a trip to the mosque. Because there are people that need to hear this message. And once they hear it, once they hear this good news, they're going to get excited. And I believe that people are going to feel the burn once again because we've got a very incompetent leader in the White House. I'm sure that I want to say a whole lot of other things, but I'll just say we have an incompetent leader in the White House. The government is shut down. People are concerned about their paycheck. People are concerned about how they're going to feed their families, how they're going to take care of their medical expenses, how they're going to pay for school. People are worried right now because of who's in the White House. We have the best opportunity to take the White House with Senator Bernie Sanders in 2020 with the message that the senator has. And so I look forward to working with everyone and beginning to reorganize around the country. I believe we have the momentum there. House party, I'm seeing the house parties pop up all over the country already. So I'm looking forward to getting out there again. I'm waiting for the senator to announce. Senator announce.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Roy, for sharing that and a lot of great information there. Okay, let's continue on to Sheila. Sheila, you worked on Bernie's 2018 campaign in Vermont. And I know that there were some measures put in place to make sure that it was a fair and just workplace, specifically where people felt welcome and empowered and respected. Can you tell us more about those measures that were taken and what those implications are for 2020?
Absolutely, Cece, and hi from Vermont, everybody. It's wow, this is so exciting. So many people across the country. This is great. So in 2018, here in Vermont, Bernie's campaign took some of the lessons that we learned from 2016 and used them to create new policies that were designed to ensure that accountability, respect, and professionalism stay a part of our culture. Some of these changes included working with an HR firm to establish an HR hotline for reporting harassment, implementing a mandatory training program for all staff. And given that this is first and foremost, as we can see on this call, a volunteer-driven grassroots movement, it was a priority for the campaign to extend all these new protections to volunteers as well as staff. So under the new policy, volunteers are now given a copy of the campaign's anti-harassment policy to review and sign. And our HR policy is posted visibly in all campaign offices. And I can say with certainty that if the senator does decide to run, these new policies are going to remain in place in 2020 as we continue to grow this movement, learn from each other, and take back the White House.
Thank you, Sheila. Great insight and information. Okay, so now we're going to move to Belen. And Belen, I have a question for you. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay. Okay. So since you worked on Bernie 2016, you've remained active in fighting for human rights, especially in the face of the current administration's racist immigration policies. From your perspective, what's at stake for 2020?
Well, I'm here at the Phoenix Watch Party, so shout out to Phoenix,
Yay.
first of all. Hey, I mean, that is such a tough question. I could go on and on and on with a list of all of the communities that are at risk, all of the policies that have been introduced. But I mean, just to highlight a few, immigrant rights these past 3 years, I am undocumented. I am getting many flashbacks of tear gassing at the border of families that are seeking asylum. I am getting flashbacks of unjust detention, of families getting separated and their children being put in cages. I am getting flashbacks of the attack of the end of DACA and the protection that Dreamers had. As an affected person, I took a very bold stance in not shutting up. And I think that Dreamers, the undocumented community, are one of our biggest examples of what we need to do and how we need to be in the next few years. We boldly put ourselves at risk by taking on jail strikes, by taking on civil disobedience, and looking at our biggest fear in the eye and saying, we are not scared of you, and we are going to continue standing up for all oppressed communities. Because I am not just an immigrant, I am not just undocumented, I am also a woman, and I also care about healthcare, and I also care about having education. I'm only 24 years old. I plan on continuing on to much more than what I am now. And I know that many young people are in the same boat of being in student debt. So this is not just about immigration. When I stand up for immigration, I stand up for all young people. I stand up for all communities because I know that it's not just about us. All of our fights are intersectional. And when Black lives are being attacked, I'm being attacked. And when the press is being attacked for telling the truth, I'm being attacked. And so whenever I say that the immigrant community has put everything on the line by facing arrest, by being deported, I want everyone to think, what can you put on the line this election? What can you do? Because there are so many things at stake that we can no longer be scared. We can no longer say that we're going to do the minimum. We need to do and give our absolute best. And we need to think about others before we think about ourselves, because at the end of the day, all of our fights are interconnected. And if one person is free, it doesn't mean that all of us are free. So I hope that continuing forward, especially with the Bernie campaign, we can put our pettiness aside and all of our infighting and all of the things that happened in the past and think forward, because we just got a very small taste of what is going to happen to anyone who is different in this country. And we need to come together. So anyone that's out there, reach out to anyone, reach out to everyone, and cheers. la revolución, la lucha sigue.
Thank you, Belen, so much. All right. Okay, so we have our last question for this section, and it's for Kat. Kat, as oh wait, Kat, are you there?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. As co-founder of the grassroots movement, People for Bernie, what advice do you have for Bernie supporters who are ready to get to work in 2020, including new people?
This is so important, and it's super easy. 2 ears, 1 mouth. If you're a good organizer, you listen more than you speak. Make sure when you're going into uncomfortable situations, because you will go into uncomfortable situations, knocking on people's doors is something that's not normal for us. It used to be. You used to ask your neighbor for ketchup or eggs or maybe to go to school with your kids. But now it's out of the norm. We get siloed in our tiny little communities, our online communities, and we don't talk to our neighbors enough. And maybe you don't venture out into communities of color or different communities that are in and near and around you. I live in White Plains, and in Westchester County, we have a majority of our low income housing in one district inside one city. That is the type of district that needs to hear our message the most. And it might be uncomfortable to go into that community. And all I can recommend is that you listen more than you speak. Step up and step back and have conversations about what people are struggling with. And then you can talk to them about what message that Bernie has that might benefit them, their families, and their communities the most. But the most important thing that you can do when you go into a community and you're organizing with folks is to listen. Ask them who they are. Ask them what they're struggling with, what their needs are, and what their hopes for the future are. Because there is a future to believe in. I believe in the future of Bernie Sanders, and I believe in every one of you. A future where a government of the people, by the people, for the people is really made up of all of the people. And that's why everyone should run. You should tell each and every one of your friends that you're thinking of stepping up and running for something, or at least find a city council or a county committee that you can rep your block for. This is how we change the face of government. You can do it. I believe in you. We all believe in you. We're here for that. That's what organizing looks like. Being there for each other, just showing up. That's half the battle. And I can't wait to show up for all of you. Thanks, Cece.
Thanks, Kat. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Great advice. And actually, I just want to thank all of our panelists on this group discussion here. Roy, Sheila, Kat, Belen. Great advice, great insight. I just want to point out that, I don't know if everyone's noticed this, that everyone has, all the speakers so far that you've heard have different reasons for supporting Bernie, different issues. And that's a great thing about Senator Sanders is he's just has a career of fighting for what's right, and a platform that you can really get behind. Anyone can get behind. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to our next section. And this is kind of exciting. Well, it's really exciting, actually. So you're probably thinking, all of this going on, what do I do? There's so much to do. What's next? Well, guess what? We've got a plan. Mm-hmm. And it involves much of what we've talked about so far and more. But most important, it involves generating that support, the support for Senator Sanders to announce he's running and lay the groundwork for a winning campaign should he announce. So I'm going to turn it over to Sheila Healy to talk more about what we can do to get started.
Hi, everybody. Okay, great. So the most important part of these house parties and this live stream and everything y'all are doing across the country right now is to plan some next steps for how we take back the White House in 2020. So all of y'all are sitting in different spaces, but your host is about to lead a guided discussion with you in planning our weekend of action. So in 2 weeks, January 26th and 27th, we're going to have a giant weekend of action where we're going to start having early conversations with voters and collecting digital signatures on our petition that's on our website, encouraging Bernie to run. We actually came out with a really cool new tool that's now available on our website. So your host is going to show you how to go to orgforbernie.com/take-action. And if you're not at a party and you're just watching online, you can go to that link as well. It's orgforbernie.com/take-action. You can see how to use the tool, review the resources we put together that'll help you have impactful conversations about why Senator Sanders should run in 2020. And during this weekend of action, we're asking our supporters to canvass on busy street corners, bus stations, door to door, anywhere where we can start growing our network now that we need to amass to really see that this political revolution through. So a couple of next steps. Your host has the guide for leading the conversation. But you're also going to go to our website and if you could start sharing your story of self, like Kat just said, the website link, orgforbernie.com/feedback, will provide you with information about how to share your story of self and also how to provide your feedback so that we're not just doing the same things that we've been doing for a couple of years. We want to do things differently. We want to incorporate everything that we've learned over the last 2 years. And if Bernie should run, and hopefully when Bernie runs, we'll have a built-in campaign in waiting for him. So, okay, are you ready? Do folks have a pen and paper? I'll give you 1 second. Okay, perfect. So write this down, orgforbernie.com/feedback. That's an online form for your feedback, and there are several questions and spaces to write in more detail about your observations and what you think about what we should be focusing on in 2020. Then your host is going to lead you in a guided discussion about how to make the 26th and the 27th a huge success, and also provide some space for you all to share your feedback about new ideas and new methods of outreach that we can be utilizing to help Bernie win and take back the White House. Thank you so much. And Cece, I'm going to pass it to you, but I think it's about time to get to work.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, this is it. Well, wow, what a day, what an event. And it's just getting started. First, I want to thank all of our guest speakers, starting with Senator Nina Turner, Roseanne DeMoro, Kat Bresler, Cori Bush, Roy Tatum, Sheila Healy, Belen Sisa. I think I might be forgetting somebody. Oh, no. I hope not. Nope, I think I got everybody. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anybody. But thank you guys so much.
Nina Turner.
No, I said Nina. I said Senator Turner. No, thank you guys so much for making this a special live stream. Really, it wouldn't have been possible to bring this to everybody and such valuable information, insight, and suggestions and ways to take action without your help. And also, I do want to give just a quick shout out for those of you that are organizing a march next weekend. Thank you for taking the time to join the live stream, and we hope your city's march is fantastic. Now, this does conclude the live stream. However, this is just the beginning. As you heard from Sheila, there's some steps we need to take, and there's a lot more organizing and action to happen here. But most imperative, we've got to get Senator Sanders to announce he's running. So to show Bernie the support, I'm just going to repeat those links that Sheila mentioned, orgforbernie.com/take-action. That's where you can dive in and not only collect those signatures on the petition, but also share your story and get the word out. And then please do share your feedback. Again, that's orgforbernie.com/feedback. As Sheila mentioned, we do want to hear your observations, your insights, your suggestions. And also with that link, there's a way to tell us how you'd like to help, if you'd like to dive into more work. And you can share, there's a message at the end that you can share with people you know to get them to sign the petition so we get more signatures and show Bernie that he has the grassroots support necessary to run and win in 2020. So thank you very much again, everyone, whether it's this afternoon or this evening, depending on your time zone. We really appreciate you joining this evening or this afternoon. And this isn't it, more to come. So do stay tuned and have a great rest of your day. Now let's all feel the burn. You can shout it out. I'm going to shout it out on the count of 3. I'm going to do this by myself. Apparently I'm used to doing this in a group, but 1, 2, 3. Feel the burn! Thank you guys.